If there were 12 common mistakes that a lot of beginning guitar players are making right now that you could avoid making, wouldn't you want to know what those are? I'm David Harsh with Guitar Success for You, and I've helped thousands of guitar players discover their potential. If you're a beginning guitarist and you're looking for ways to improve your guitar learning experience and play better, this video is for you. I'm focusing on some small aspects of our playing today to help give you insights into habits you can correct or develop so that you, your listeners, and your collaborators can enjoy what you're playing on the guitar even more. I believe there are 12 mistakes beginners frequently make that inhibit their progress as guitar players, and I'm going to tell you what those are right now. I'll list each mistake, describing what not to do, but then I'll spin things positively to show you what to do, because ultimately I want to be here to encourage you. Mistake number 1, not having your guitar set up. When a guitar arrives at your house, whether it's because you've brought it home from the store or it's been shipped to you, even if it's brand new, it just might need a setup. What does a guitar that is not set up properly feel like? Well, for one, it can be hard to play, it can be hard to tune, and if either of those are true, it will be hard to enjoy. It would be a lot like trying to drive a car around with low air pressure in the tires. Not so fun, right? So I recommend having your guitar set up properly. What does this mean? Well, basically it involves having a shop take a look at your guitar to see if the nut or the saddle or both need to be adjusted so that the strings can be the right distance from the neck. It could also involve having them adjust the truss rod. Typically, strings are just a bit too high above the frets. This is called the action. Even high-end guitars can often require a setup for optimal play. I recently had a student who was struggling to play bar chords because her action was too high. She started to wonder if bar chords were even possible for her. But then she got her guitar set up and it made all the difference. Someone who is trying to get started with the guitar could run out of momentum and get discouraged even before they really get into playing because their guitar isn't set up properly. We don't want that, right? If you have a shop you can take your guitar to, please take it to them. A good shop will give you a free quote. If you want to know the only shop I've trusted for over 25 years, catch the link in the description below. But take the step to make sure your guitar is set up properly. Mistake number 2, playing less optimal chord fingerings. I want to encourage you to play optimal fingerings that allow for much more efficient transitions. Chords exist in context, so sometimes we need to think about other chords we'll be playing along with that chord, unless we want to play a single chord for an entire song, which would be boring, right? Take the A major chord, for example. A huge number of beginners and even intermediates will use fingers 1, 2, and 3. But if we're in the key of D, A, or E, all three of which use the A chord a lot, we'll have to pick up our fingers a lot more to move to and from the A chord if we do this. Now, instead of this less optimal fingering, I highly recommend using fingers 2, 1, and 3. It's just a slight adjustment, but it's a game changer. Watch the difference. Here's the weak chord fingering transition. Lots of extra movement. And here's the strong chord transition with much less movement. Now, we're not being lazy, we're being efficient. There's a difference, right? To get a closer look at this process, please watch my video, Do Chord Fingerings Matter? This will take you just a bit deeper with this discussion and help you lock this process in. Mistake number 3, holding the pick in a weird way. Now, I've seen beginning guitarists hold their pick way out in front of their hand. But I'm here to tell you, once the pick is properly nested between your thumb and index, you can get right into strumming and flat picking and enjoy the instrument. Let your fingers provide some gentle weighted support, but hold on to the pick with just enough tension to give you a good grip that doesn't translate into making your strumming or flat picking sound labored or harsh. I like to say, hold the pick like a blessing from God. Not too tightly. I could spend a whole 7 minutes making a video about the 4 important aspects of holding a pick. Oh wait, I did. Check it out when you have a moment. Mistake number 4, playing out of tune. Now, tuning can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be. I love to use the equal temperament method, but this has taken me years to get exactly the way I want it. For a beginner, I recommend using a tuner. A tuner can be just fine for getting your guitar sounding good for all the music you're going to play on it. Conversely, imagine if you worked really hard to be able to play some clean chords and beautiful melodies, but your strings were not in tune with each other. Bummer, right? That would be like putting all the proper ingredients into a dish in their appropriate proportions and then not cooking it all the way through. It doesn't have to be that way. Peterson makes some really good strobe tuners that are precise and reasonably priced. You can get a pedal version or a clip-on version similar to this one. I use this Strobo clip tuner quite a bit, and I use the Strobo Stomp when I amplify some of my instruments. I link to both of those in the description below. Mistake number 5, playing sloppy chords and transitions. Tell me which of these 2 chords you prefer. Here's the first version, and here's the second version. Right? What about moving between chords? We can be sloppy or smooth. I'd much rather have a student learn 4 chords and play them smoothly, especially in progressions, than to have them sort of learn 40 chords that don't sound so good. Quality as an early habit will go a long way, and compromising this quality early on can be a habit that's hard to break. So really zoom in and take the necessary time to get those chords sounding good by themselves and also in progressions. Mistake number 6, strumming notes that aren't in the chord. I like this D chord. This D chord, not so much. How do we know which notes are in a chord? Look closely at the diagram. If you see X's or you don't see finger numbers below the chord shape, it's probably an indication that those strings aren't meant to be included. If you want a window into clean chords, check out this short video. In it, I share my effective method for making sure only the notes in the chord that are supposed to sound ring out. All right, we're halfway there. Before we continue with numbers 7 through 12, if you've gotten some value from this video, I'd love to invite you to like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already, so you can be among the first to be notified of new content that we're creating for you. Thanks for considering. Mistake number 7, strumming too aggressively. We can strum with dynamic variation, but there's a point where a beginner will wield their pick like they're trying to beat sound out of their guitar. Not super artistic. I recommend a beautiful balance between wrist and elbow. Not too much of either. For a couple awesome strumming workouts, please check out our channel. And if you're a beginner, I encourage you to start with this one. I ease in with a steady, slow tempo, with and without a pick, and I walk you through my process. Mistake number 8, being too rough with your strings. If we're not careful, we can manhandle our strings and make them sound less than awesome. Pressing down too hard like this can actually make a string sound sharp and therefore out of tune. Hear the difference? This is a normal amount of pressure, and this is too much pressure. Also, some beginning guitarists unwittingly push a string to the side, and they end up with an unintentional string bend. String bends are more advanced and sound especially good on an electric. But again, if we bend a string slightly by adding too much sideways pressure, we can make it sound sharp and again, out of tune. Mistake number 9, playing only exercises and scales. I know that technique is an important means to an end, but if all we do is stay in the means stage and don't get to the end, which is actually playing real music, we're missing out. I like exercises, I appreciate scales, but I think it's also important to play real music, no matter how simple. Make sure there's a song you're learning or enjoying as a part of your guitar playing. Mistake number 10, keeping your guitar out of reach. I know some beginners have younger people under their roofs who might want to borrow or be a little too rough with their guitars, so they keep them locked away. But that can actually backfire because the guitarists themselves might not get as much playing in. Out of sight, out of mind can often be the paradigm. Maybe hang the guitar on your wall, but don't keep it in a case in a closet. I'd rather you play your guitar often, even for less time, so you can continue to remind your hands of what you're working on. Also, you never know when inspiration might hit. Mistake number 11, going alone on your guitar journey. I totally get it if you're a little uncomfortable playing for others at first, but really, as one of our Guitar Success for You guest experts, Brian Redding, has said, music is best when shared. Sharing music can be as simple as asking a friend or family member to listen to you play a chord. I mean, it doesn't have to be complex. Sometimes a simple set of musical notes can be pleasing to the ear. We need audiences sometimes. They help us appreciate what we're doing, and they help us gain confidence. We also need collaborators sometimes. They provide a musical context for us to fit into. We can enjoy hearing our guitar in a texture with other instruments. Playing it alone can be safer, but we can miss out on some of the best musical experiences if we do, even near the beginning of our journeys. I love the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We need others, and take it from me, an introvert, it's worth pushing ourselves outside our comfort zones to enjoy the blessings of community, especially when it comes to music. And lastly, mistake number 12, playing without purpose. The word why is an incredibly important word to a guitarist. If we know why we're playing this amazing instrument, we'll have the purpose and vision to see it through. If someone just dabbles and doesn't really have a clear vision for why they want to play the guitar, they might eventually run out of momentum and give up, or at least not fulfill their potential. Not so for the person who can picture themselves leading worship for their local church or school, or writing songs, or starting a band. It can be a serious professional goal, or it can just be serious fun. When we encounter challenges and hurdles, not if, but when, there could be an opportunity to set our guitar aside for a moment, for a month, or for years. However, if we know why we play and why we want to get better, we play with purpose, we keep going, and in time, we reach our goals. Remembering your purpose as a guitarist will see you through seasons of frustration, doubt, and uncertainty. And if I might add this, if you know the Lord, you know that He has given us music as a fair and glorious gift. It's a wonderful way to express our love for Him. Praying about your guitar development and consistently bringing your gifts and instrument before the Lord is a wonderful way to invite Him to move through your discipline and art. I know that throughout the course of this video, I told you about several videos you could check out. I'd say this, if you are wondering what to watch next, like right now, I'd recommend this one. As I mentioned, it's a strumming workout, and it's actually the second workout in a series, but it would be a great starting point, especially if you're a beginner. No chords required. I'll see you there.